African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Ogantoy, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of July 7, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue to conduct a special military operation. Units of the North Group of Forces continue to advance deep into the enemy's defenses and liberated the settlement of Bessalovka in the Sumy region. Defeated the manpower and equipment of the mechanized, Ranger, 3 airborne assault brigades and 4 assault regiments of the armed forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements of Pisarevka, Zapsali, Olshanka, Kripovshchina, Unikovka, Sadki, Varakino, and Bititsa in the Sumy region. In the Kharkiv direction, units of the Motorized Infantry Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and the Territorial Defense Brigade were defeated in the areas of the settlements of Kazachya Lopan and Volchansk in the Kharkiv region. That the armed forces of Ukraine lost up to 180 servicemen, 2 combat armored vehicles, 5 cars, 4 field artillery guns, 2 ammunition depots, and a warehouse of material resources. Units of the West Group of Forces improved the situation along the forward edge. They defeated formations of 2 mechanized, assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements of Petro-Ivanovka, Kupiansk in the Kharkiv region, Zelenaya Dolina, and Torskoy in the Donetsk People's Republic. The armed forces of Ukraine lost over 210 servicemen, 3 combat armored vehicles, including an M113 armored personnel carrier and 2 US-made HMMWV armored vehicles. Destroyed 12 pickups, an artillery gun, 2 electronic warfare stations, 2 /TPQ-36 and /TPQ-50 counter-battery radar stations made in the USA, as well as 3 ammunition depots. Units of the Southern Group of Forces occupied more advantageous lines and positions. They inflicted losses on the manpower and equipment of 3 mechanized, motorized infantry, airmobile, mountain assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine, a territorial defense brigade and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements of Serebryanka, Seversk, Chasiv Yar, Fedorovka, Belyagora, Konstantinovka, Sherbanovka, and Alexandro Shultino of the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost more than 130 servicemen, a tank, a Grad multiple launch rocket system combat vehicle, a Western-made artillery piece, a pickup truck, and 2 ammunition depots. As a result of active and decisive actions by units of the Center Group of Forces, the settlement of Dachnoye in the Dnipropetrovsk region was liberated. Formations of 6 mechanized, airborne assault brigades, an unmanned systems brigade and 2 assault regiments of the armed forces of Ukraine, a marine brigade and a territorial defense brigade were defeated in the areas of the settlements of Dmitrov, Krasnoarmysk, Suvarovo, Muravka, Rodinskoy, and Grishino of the Donetsk People's Republic. The losses of the Ukrainian armed formations amounted to over 440 servicemen, 5 combat armored vehicles, 11 pickups, and 3 field artillery guns. Units of the East Group of Forces continued to advance deep into the enemy's defense. They defeated the manpower and equipment of 2 mechanized brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements of Malinovka in the Zaporizhia region, Voskresenka and Karl Marx in the Donetsk People's Republic. The Ukrainian armed forces lost more than 200 servicemen, 2 combat armored vehicles, 10 cars, an artillery piece, and 3 electronic warfare stations. Units of the Dnipro Group of Forces defeated formations of 2 mechanized brigades, 2 coastal defense brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements of Novoandrivka, Kamenskoye, Plavny in the Zaporizhia region, and Mykolivka and Antonovka in the Kherson region. Up to 85 Ukrainian servicemen, 9 vehicles, 2 artillery pieces, 5 electronic warfare stations, 3 ammunition depots, and a fuel depot were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, Missile troops and artillery of the Russian armed forces groups have damaged territorial centers for the recruitment of the armed forces of Ukraine, assembly plants and storage sites for strike unmanned aerial vehicles, ammunition and fuel depots, as well as temporary deployment points for Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 138 districts. Air defense systems have shot down 7 guided aerial bombs and 402 aircraft-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the following have been destroyed: 663 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 68,049 unmanned aerial vehicles, 614 anti-aircraft missile systems, 24,156 tanks and other combat armored vehicles, 1,576 combat vehicles of multiple launch rocket systems, 27,079 field artillery guns and mortars, 37,760 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.